Hey y'all, welcome back to Mrs. Montgomery Mondays, where we minister about the Master, your idols, my rivals, week 2. Let's get it. So last week we briefly opened up a can of idolatry as we introduced the topic and briefly elaborated on the title. This week we'll dig a little deeper. Let's go to Jonah 2:8. It says, those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love. And real quick, I also like the NIV version of this that says, those who cling to worthless idols turn away from God's love for them. We can't serve two masters, y'all. We're either going to cling to one and despise the other, or care less about the other, or vice versa. But a choice is definitely involved within this equation. And it boils down to, are we going to choose God or something other than God? And overall, throughout this series, what I want to focus on is how we idolize man, in most cases much higher than we do God. Because like I said, I want this series to prepare you for the poem, and that's what the poem is geared towards. But I do want to take this week to just briefly elaborate on how idolatry does not necessarily have to include humanity. You know, like it doesn't have to be a person. If you ask me, it can be anything that comes before God in your life. You know what I mean? And I think that most of us mean well, you know, when we think about it. Like, of course God comes first in our lives. Like, first God, then my fam, then my boo, then my paper, then whatever else. But it's just time that we really get serious about this thing and start to analyze our lives to see if what we claim is true. Like, and I think that one simple question that can help us easily do what the Bible commands us to do, which is to examine ourselves to see if we're in the faith, is just to ask how. Like, how does God come first in my life? And while you think about that, let's go to Colossians 3:5. That says, put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you: sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. In short, this just goes to show that sin itself can be an idol for us. And I'm sure that most of us can think of a few I'm sure that most of us can think of some simple behavior that we spend more time involved in than what we do spending time with God. And so all I'm trying to say to him is that any and everything that keeps you from or distant from the Lord can turn out to be idolatry, including sin itself, which brings me back to the title, Your Idols, My Rivals. Like, most of us idolize sin and consume mass amounts of it in order to fill these voids or empty spaces that we have within our hearts. Like, sin used to be an idol for me, but now it is my rival. Like, every single day I am battling and fighting against it. Like I said, there's a constant war going on, and the goal on a moment-to-moment basis is to walk after the Spirit versus the flesh, of course by the strength of the Holy Spirit, which is why I am so grateful that no matter how many fiery darts are thrown my way, or no matter how much sin or temptation or attacks come, at the end of the day, I am victorious through Christ, and no weapon that is formed against me shall prosper. And that can go for you too, through Christ. So let's just close with 1 Corinthians 10:14. It says, therefore, my beloved, flee from idolatry. I'll see y'all next week.